I just saw a statistic that said by 2030, 45% of women are going to be single.
I look sexy as sexy AF, and not a single soul has looked in my way.
Yes, dating sucks everywhere. Guys don't even attempt to approach you with any kind of seriousness.
Dating sucks everywhere indeed, but women are doing it to themselves with delusional standards.
Hi guys, so recently I've been hearing a lot of buzz that predicts 45% of women will be single and childless by 2030.
I hate to say it, it's time. Oh my goodness, I'm over dating. I'm so over it. I don't know why.
Everything is getting worse. Dating is becoming impossible little by little.
Kindly subscribe to the channel, as it is our sole form of support. Thank you.
I think I'm done with dating. I can't. I think I finally understand why people settle, because this is so horrible and miserable.
I just want to know, since so many people agreed with my last video about how horrible dating is right now, where are you guys finding people? Are you going to shows, coffee shops, work? Where are you guys finding these people? Are you using dating apps? If so, which ones? Because whatever I'm doing is not working.
You know, it's such a shame. There are genuinely amazing women and men out there, people who really want to find a partner and build something meaningful together. But with all the letdowns and disappointments that seem to come with dating these days, it's no wonder so many guys are starting to pull back. They're tired of the endless cycle. Why keep signing up for heartache and headaches when you're looking for connection and peace? It's like the dating world is wearing everyone down, one bad experience at a time. Here are comments: we're not finding anyone, we're just staying home, no one is interested in really dating somebody. I'm not looking, gave up, I'd rather die alone than settle for someone. We are not looking anymore, most of us are staying single because the dating pool is shit.
Tell me why all the most amazing, attractive, beautiful, loving women that I know are all single right now. And I just saw a statistic that said by 2030, 45% of women are going to be single. And they didn't say men, too. They said women because they're trying to highlight the fact that we're like taking our...
Shorty was so close. Shorty was so close. You know how delusional you gotta be to sit up here and realize that most women are going to be old and single by 2030, or I forgot what number that was. 45% of women are going to be single, and it didn't say guys, but it said women, because we're taking our power back.
Look, I don't know what kind of powers some people think come with being single, but it's almost like they've convinced themselves there's some sort of supernatural boost. I mean, imagine if being single was actually some kind of magical upgrade. We'd have single guys with superpowers everywhere by now. But truthfully, it feels more like a coping mechanism. Fast forward to 2030, when close to 45% of women may still be single. And I think we'll see the conversation shift. Already we're hearing people ask, where have all the good men gone? The reality is, this "I don't need anyone" mantra might feel empowering in the moment, but independence only takes you so far. When life throws challenges your way, and those quiet moments of loneliness creep in, that sense of independence can start to feel, well, empty. It's one thing to be self-sufficient, it's another to go through it all alone. Sometimes companionship is the one thing that truly makes all the difference.
Fellas, wait your turn. By 2030, 45% of American women ages 25 through 44 are projected to be single. Wait your turn.
I hate to say it, it's time. Oh my goodness, I'm over dating. I'm so over it. I don't know why, it's just draining, exhausting, discouraging. Because I always find myself, I'm like, what did you do wrong, you know? What did you do wrong? Like, what's wrong with you? Why is it the same every single time? Like, same outcome. I don't know. I'm just like, ugh. It just makes me feel bleh thinking about it. It ruins my day.
If you keep getting the same disappointing outcomes, maybe it's time to ask why. Often, it's because you're attracting the same types of guys over and over. You know, some people say dating is so hard, but then they keep going for the same kind of guys who are all charm, excitement, and no commitment. These are often the players, the ones who make everything seem thrilling but are only interested in something casual. Instead of looking for someone who actually wants a real connection. They keep hoping that this one will somehow be different. But when you're consistently picking people who aren't in it for the long haul, you're setting yourself up for the same frustration and heartbreak every time. It's not that there aren't good men out there. It's that they're passing on the ones who are serious in favor of the ones who aren't even looking for anything long-term.
By 2030, 45% of women in North America are said to be single and to have no children. Now, there's nothing wrong with making the conscious choice to not have any children. But to not have children and to be single out of the fact that our society is telling us that being independent and that this whole feminist movement is the answer. If it's the answer, then why are we the loneliest generation to exist? Why are more and more people struggling to find relationships? Why are more people depressed and unhappy than ever in time?
The study predicts that by 2030, 45% of women will be single. Now, apparently, single women are empowered, meanwhile, single men feel lonely. I'm going to read it to you guys because I think it's a really interesting study. It says that with the modern dating market, nearly half of women in their childbearing years will be without a male counterpart. Now, there's a few reasons for this. So, one, women aren't getting married young anymore. We have so many other options for what we want to do with our lives, so that getting married is no longer like the default option. We're focusing on our careers, we're going to grad school, traveling, our friends, and extended social circles, and taking our time to find the right guy. Number two is we aren't having babies like we used to, with more options for birth control and yada yada yada. I really just wanted to say yada yada yada. Quite interesting. What do you guys think about that? I feel like women are more successful now than ever. We're seeing a lot of business women and stuff like that, and I feel like people just aren't really settling how they used to. It's a good thing, but then what does that mean if such a high percentage, nearly 50% of women are having children? What does that mean for the rest of us? And what does that even mean for the population? Will we see that it starts to slow down? I just find that really, really interesting.
First off, let's get one thing straight. This trend is mainly happening in the West. Other parts of the world, they're not facing these same issues. Here, though, women have been fed this narrative about empowerment, and it's starting to skew the whole idea of independence. It's gone from encouraging self-reliance to almost promoting the idea that men are optional, even unnecessary. What's interesting is the different ways success seems to affect people when men make money and build careers. They often want to start families and build something beyond themselves. But when some women reach a similar level of success, they're more interested in embracing the boss babe lifestyle. And hey, if that's genuinely what makes them happy, more power to them. It actually helps separate those truly looking for connection from those who aren't. But here's the twist: if being single is so fulfilling, then why are we still hearing the question? Where are all the good men? It's hard to buy that this setup is really bringing anyone happiness. Ultimately, a society where men and women drift apart isn't just unusual, it's a slippery slope toward instability. At our core, we're designed to connect, and this growing divide, it's not natural.
I have never met a woman that confesses that she cheated on her ex. I've met plenty of men that have owned up to it and they've confessed that they have cheated in the past, but never have I ever met a woman that has taken accountability or has taken the blame for the relationship ending, let alone cheating in her past relationship.
Welcome to my world.
Listen, after 7 days straight of what are you doing? How was your day? If you're not planning a date, if you're not taking me out, if you're not trying to catch my vibe in real time, lose my number. Delete it. Matter of fact, I'll do you one better. I'll leave you right where you're at, because why are you wasting my time? Why are you wasting your time? Flirting with me and not backing it up is crazy, because I'm ready to be somebody's wife.
I've never quite understood this mindset. If you want to go on a date with a guy, why not make the first move and show a little interest? Guys like that too. Men want to feel valued and wanted just as much as women do. And when a woman takes the initiative, it speaks volumes. It says she's genuinely interested, and that makes a huge difference. This simple act breaks out of the usual one-sided dynamic, where men are expected to jump through hoops just to get a connection going. A little effort on her part goes a long way. It's refreshing. And it lets a guy know she's not just waiting around to be chased or entertained. But here's the kicker: a lot of modern women make it about gender roles. It's all men are supposed to do this, or that's the man's job. Instead of showing genuine interest, it's like there's this entitlement in the air that men should be doing all the work. It's wild.
Recently, I've been hearing a lot of buzz around the 2019 Morgan Stanley study that predicts 45% of women between the ages of 25 to 44 will be single and childless by 2030, We were at 41% in 2018, so it's expected that more and more women will be single and childless as the years roll on. As long as I can afford to go on the seemingly few bachelorette trips to Mexico that are going to happen, I'm Gucci. I can stop putting so much pressure on myself to make a lot of money, travel the world, and do everything I want to do in the next 3 years before I turn 30. What it sounds like Morgan is trying to tell us is that the girls are going to be having Dua Lipa summers for the next solid decade.
Morgan's basically giving men a heads-up stock up on cat food and wine, because that's exactly what modern women will be sipping on in their empty homes. Remember, the whole point of this research was to guide future investments, so it's telling us where things are headed. Meanwhile, the passport bros movement. It'll only keep gaining speed. But here's the part that often gets overlooked. What many women don't realize is that being single and childless isn't the carefree lifestyle it's often made out to be. Studies have shown that single, childless women tend to report higher levels of unhappiness and loneliness. That independence comes at a price, and it might not be the fulfilling picture it's painted to be.
I hate dating. Like, I genuinely hate it. Yes, I like being in love. Yes, I like meeting new people. But going through the whole, oh, where did you grow up? What do you want to do with your life? And explaining myself to people over and over and over again drives me insane. Like, you don't know how badly I just want to meet someone and love them for the rest of my life. Someone who just hits all my checkboxes. Loving, kind, ambitious, courageous, strong, knows what they're doing with their life, has goals, has a career in mind, knows what they want from a relationship, generous, humble, teachable, compassionate, hardworking, perseverant. So if someone can create a dating app where those guys are on it, sign me up.
Guys, you cannot build a relationship with a woman who is emotionally immature. Now, she might be really attractive, really sexy. Maybe you had a great couple of first dates, but when you notice that things get real and she lacks emotional regulation, or she avoids accountability, or she has real limited empathy and understanding, or she's totally afraid of vulnerability, this demonstrates that she's emotionally immature. And that means she's not going to be right for you. Because instead of enjoying the relationship, being with her in the relationship, building something together, you're going to spend your time constantly trying to be the bigger person, constantly trying to fix her, smooth things over, and repair a relationship that probably wasn't the right one to begin with.
When a woman shows signs of emotional immaturity, that's a big red flag. It usually means you'll end up playing more of a father figure than an equal partner. And that's exhausting. Instead of simply enjoying being her man, you're constantly stepping into a role where you're nurturing and supporting her emotionally, practically carrying the relationship. What should be a balanced, healthy partnership turns into a lopsided dynamic that drains you over time. It's one thing to be supportive. It's another to feel like you're responsible for someone else's growth. In the end, that constant imbalance can leave you feeling frustrated and worn out, with very little space left to be truly happy in the relationship.
I'm at Costco right now, and I literally just saw a man that is the absolute description of my best friend's dream man, I believe, and I literally am trying to follow him to see if he has a wedding ring on, and I'm debating asking if he has a girlfriend. I know if I had to draw the perfect man for her, this is the man I would draw. Okay, I see a ring on his left hand.
He's so for real right now. Since when is it socially acceptable to follow anyone around the freaking grocery store? Since when? The audacity. If men did this, they would be considered creepy. They'd have the cops called on them. They'd probably be escorted out of the grocery store and banned from said store. So what makes you think that it is okay for you to do it as a woman? And then you made a comment about, oh, you want to see if he's married. So on the off chance that he might be married, what if he had his family with him? What if he had children with him and you're over here stalking him and his family? And you don't think that's fucking weird? Again, if men were to do this, then he'd be looked at as a predator. But then somebody actually called you out on this bullshit behavior, and you actually followed it up by saying that women don't give off creepy or weird vibes. You followed it up with saying that men are weird and creepy, or whatever the fuck you said, and if they're weird and creepy, why are you stalking them? And what does that say about you? Like, be so for real. And then y'all will always preach that it's not about looks and you want a good guy that treats you good. But now you're literally stalking this man in the grocery store based off what he looks like because it's your friend's dream guy. How is he her dream guy if you know nothing about him? Oh, right, because attractiveness outweighs anybody's standards. It's absolutely diabolical to turn around and say that all men are weird and creeps and women don't give off weird vibes as you're stalking somebody in the grocery store. Grow the hell up. Okay, bye.
I want every guy watching this to picture himself walking into a Victoria's Secret, casually recording women as they shop, just like this woman here is doing in Costco. We all know how that would end cancelled. Maybe even arrested within minutes. Let's be real, this is creepy behavior. Isn't it practically stalking? The double standard here is unreal. If a man did this, he'd be instantly labeled a predator or pervert. But when women do it, society often brushes it off as harmless, or even cute. It's just one more example of how men are held to a much stricter standard when it comes to respecting personal boundaries. It's frustrating, it's inconsistent, and honestly, it's pretty disgusting.
Do we think 40 is too old to date a girl in their late 20s? Like, I'm 27, but my friend disagrees and she says I need someone younger to keep up with my lifestyle. But all the guys my age don't want to settle down. So here I am. What do you think? I think it's fine.
I hate going on dates. Why do I want to be with someone, but I don't want to talk to anyone. We're about to go on a date and I'm going to report back. It's going well. We kissed, but I know he's a fucker. I know.
So I was talking to a male friend of mine the other day, and he told me that women don't apologize and women can't be held accountable. And I began to really think deeply about this idea. And one of the things that came across my mind is, in the last 9 months or so of me being in my private practice, I have myself experienced many women, whether they came in as a couple or they came by themselves, they very abruptly discontinued their therapy. And I started to reflect and really think, what was going on here? And I noticed that after I had to confront them about something, I had to bring to their attention something they were doing that wasn't contributing to the health of the relationship, they became very defensive and very, just very harsh, and they stopped coming. And even though the husband would continue to come, he made it very clear that, yeah, she won't apologize. She thinks you're wrong. She thinks you're taking my side. And I began to really reflect, like, oh my gosh, is it true that women don't apologize? Is it that women struggle with being held accountable? I'd love your thoughts on this. Me personally, I think it has to do with a person's level of emotional maturity. What do you think?
Here are comments. 31 years of marriage, it doesn't get any better. Don't take accountability and responsibility, but play the victim. 3 times we started counseling at my wife's suggestion. 3 times she ended therapy. After a few sessions, she looks for a therapist who agrees with her. My ex-wife convinced herself that she was putting in effort to fix our relationship while she did literally nothing. My wife tries to manipulate me with my therapist, says you mean the therapist I've never met that only hears your side? We got married at 16 and I was 17 years old. 32 years later, she is yet to admit any wrongdoing. Even if I show her proof, she doesn't admit it. We stopped going because the therapist was on my side. Those were her words. Let's talk about accountability, or in this case, the lack of it. Many women don't apologize or let go of their ego because they genuinely believe they're never in the wrong, especially in relationships or marriage. Instead of owning up to their part, it becomes a game of pointing fingers at their husbands. Even therapists sometimes get roped into this, supporting her side instead of challenging her to take responsibility. And here's the kicker: as long as she feels a certain way, she thinks that's all that matters. For many, it's their feelings they're most loyal to, not the relationship itself. Look at this guy here, he even had the therapist on his side. But his wife didn't want to hear it. It's like many women convince themselves they're perfect and that the guy is always the problem. When emotions become the only truth that matters, it's no wonder relationships feel one-sided and frustrating.